Well, legends, we're ready to roll. Let's come over to the light.
This is our retro look. We've been filming in 4:3 mode.
Kit. You can see we'll film better in the daytime. I've got my rendeneering, carrying my extra sew up.
Rendeneers are those that do more than 120 miles.
This is how you carry
like
it when you're doing very
brevet
long rides. And I already have one in that bidon.
You can carry a spare tubulars any way you want. I just chose to follow the boys of old. I'm filming in the old format. They call it 4:3 mode for this part of the film. Just to make everything look retro, no stats. You can put your sew up in a bag. You can put it on the back of the saddle. I just chose to carry it like the boys in the golden day of cycling. And believe it or not, it just disappeared. Once I put it on, I forgot it was there. Because that's a part of the body you don't use when you're riding for any particular reason. So I see why they carried it like that. You put the cross in the back and it goes over your shoulders.
Here's a cab.
Fine, how are you? Got that right.
The lady said, "You're looking good." I said, "You got that right." And you look good, you feel good. And it's really wild how the helmet and the shoes match perfectly, and they also end up matching the frame. So it was a good combination. But you see the format we're filming in. This is what the old CRT TVs before the digital age. So I went back to retro mode all around. This is Saturday's ride. I decided to just really make it full retro. But the second part of the film, the stats are there because we returned to the HDTV, what you call the anamorphic landscape mode. Right here we're on Fish Creek, and the boys are ahead of us. I gave Paul the camera and told him let's get up there. We're doing in excess of 30 miles an hour here. It took a while to get the ride going on Saturday, so once they decided to start riding, then we started to chase up. You see how the tire twists? I'm using a spare tubular that I've already pre-stretched. If you ride tubulars, you pretty much know if you don't stretch your tubulars beforehand, you will fight with it when you need to use it on the road, or even when you change it at home. You always want to stretch your tubulars. You know, they're not for everybody, so you know, clinchers are more widely used anyway. So I just like the ride and everything about the tubulars, the feel. We catch up to the boys here and just kind of sit on the back. Yeah, the ride is just pretty much kicking off here. So Paul and I ended up doing 2 loops of Fish Creek on Saturday instead of going further out north. So we're able to get our hours in. There's an intersection up there. The light is usually pretty short. You go through. This is a good shot of how the boys of old carry the tubular tire.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Just keep rolling, right?
That's Sam on the right there. That's Max in front of Sam. The road starts to go up. It edges up to about 2.5%. You can see visually that it's going up. We continue to roll here. That's Dave in front of me. You can see all the gaps that they leave. They waste a lot of energy. For me right now, this is kind of warm up. This is like zone 1 for me. Creeping into zone 2. I'm just kind of watching to see what they're doing. The day started out cloudy, but you will see later when we're coming back, the sun comes out in its glory. We'll pass a couple of riders here. There were a lot of people riding this weekend, just multiple groups around. I tapped so Paul would know that we're going to start moving around people here because people are leaving a lot of gaps. There are a couple of riders up the front there. See, Paul lifted the camera. Those are the people we rolled past. But we just stayed on the back and kind of observed to see what people were doing. And all I did was I just kept my effort minimal. And right here, I'm sitting in a slipstream. I'm not following very closely because some of these guys have tri-bars. But as I see the gap, I will roll around people. These guys here on the right started with us, but they're drifting back. I didn't get the name of the guy we're passing here. So you have to be aware of who's leaving gaps when you ride with people. There are riders just standing on the side of the road. They didn't start out with us. But there are just so many people riding bikes. It's really great to see on the north side of town. So we went around those guys because they were leaving gaps. We've gotten on the back. I'm letting Paul know that there's a rider up there on the right that we're coming up on. And I'm letting him know early. You see where I'm riding? I'm riding where the right tire of the cars ride. It's the cleanest spot. We're using the whole lane, so there's no reason for me to be hugging the shoulder. Paul's on my left. So we go around this rider. He's just out doing his own thing. And you see Randy sitting out there in the wind, and really what I consider wasting energy, because the whole point of being with the group is to be able to save your energy at some points in the ride. He's on an a TT bike that he brought out, and I guess he wanted to rest on the bars, which is fine. You can do that either at the front of the group or if you're the last person. Don't do that in the middle of the line, because you have no control over your steering or your brakes. The road goes up here. It probably goes up to about 2.5–3%. I'm not passing anybody. I'm just holding my speed. I go by max there a little bit. I don't really pass him. Then he stands up. I'm just holding my rhythm. There's no point slowing down on a climb. Just find a rhythm and hold it, because you got to get over it anyway. A lot of times when we hook up with the groups, every time the road goes up, they get excited. You will see that in the clips to come from Sunday's ride, where we actually have the statistics. So we come back to the widescreen format, and so I'm able to load all the graphics, and you will see that the road goes up, people get excited, and then these are the same people that start struggling later. 3 hours in, they're struggling. So you have to pace yourself. If you're doing a longer ride, you've got to really control your efforts. So every time the road was going up, I would just kind of move up in the line without trying, by just keeping my effort. You will see here at this light, the light changes at the last minute. I just moved to the left. Sam put his foot down real suddenly. Whenever there's a quick stop, you kind of have to open up, give yourself a little more room. The light kind of changed at the last minute, so sometimes it's unavoidable. We weren't going that fast since we were going uphill. But a rider had already gone through the light that barked over on the right. So he just turned in the subdivision and did a U-turn. He's coming out the other side there. So we'll resume. I'm looking for a gap in the line and then I'll slip in. The road's kind of going downhill in this stretch and then it will kick back up. So it's up and down until we get to the overpass. So you have to make sure you try to keep your rhythm reasonable. You can't be shy. You see me shifting. It's going up, I downshift, rev up whatever gear I'm in. I'm probably in a 5323. Which is like a 3917. I just shifted to the 21. You see how clean my components are. If you keep your drivetrain clean, they last a lot longer than if you don't. Plus, they're easier to work on. Your hands don't get filthy when you're changing a flat. So keep your machine clean and tuned. It's worth the little extra effort. You just have to be consistent. So the road starts to go up here. All I do is I make sure I'm in a gear I can handle. I do that strictly by feel. And when I say can't handle, I mean for the zone I want to stay in. We're not really riding that hard. There's no reason for me to overtax my legs. They're sitting up. They rode hard on that little bump. And now we're coasting on this side. So you kind of have to go along with what the group is doing. And if you want to go harder, you go to the front. If you want to take it easy, you sit in. They're mostly freewheeling, so I just stay in a moderate gear. I'm probably in a 5319. The road starts to kick up here again. In a little bit, you'll see Randy looking for cover. He's tired of sitting in the wind. It's starting to go up, and after this bump, then we come to the overpass. He gets in front of Bart there. He just appears to be working so hard, and we're not really riding hard. You will see him in a little bit. I think it shows here when we go by, he scoots back. When you see a rider moving all over the saddle, they don't like where they're sitting. Something's up with the fit of that machine. Whichever rider it may be. Because your body has a way of telling you when you go hard where you should be. And you just end up gravitating to where you want to be. And it may not be the most comfortable spot. They're building another bridge. They've been working on this for a bit. Hopefully they'll get it wrapped up soon. There's a lot of debris on the shoulder on this one. This bridge goes up above 3% and is long. So right here there's a gap opening. I'll go ahead and go around Randy. Now I'm just using cadence here. I did not upshift or anything because those guys are not really going that hard. They're just riding. So I spin above 100 RPMs and we get up to them pretty quickly. Pause on my wheel. I'm using the lane because they're using the lane too, so Whenever possible, I try to use the cleanest part of the road. Minimizes your chances of puncture. So I'll go and seek puncture. Use the cleanest piece of road that's available. So the overpass is over. We keep the effort going. We're going to take Capitol Road south. I guess everybody on this ride was focused on riding so much. Nobody made any comment about my rendineering style with the extra sew-up. I just kind of smiled. That's Mike we go by there. He had been pulling. Tim is at the front. We're keeping the effort about the same here, and the way I like to ride is once we start going, let's just keep moving and make time. You know, I don't like too much stopping. You know, just keep it steady. I'd much rather drop the effort, keep everybody together, than ride away from people and then wait for them for minutes on end. That does not compute for me. I check for traffic because we're going to be turning, and Tim has been told, but I guess he's waiting till the last minute. So I'll go ahead and move over. It's clear. Those wheels look really good on the Kish. They work really well. The tires are very, very supple, and the ride is just, I really like that brand. Somehow I end up right behind Tim, so there were 3 guys behind him. I just keep riding. I like to just keep moving. I don't like to be playing around trying to drift to the back. I don't have time for that. So I ride up to Tim. I'm using all cadence there. I'm not wasting any energy. See Mark over here? He's working really hard just to get to us. We're not riding hard. I'm just riding consistently. So you got to be careful how you dose out your effort. Because if you ride too hard, catch up with somebody, and then they go hard, you might not be able to stay on their wheel. I look back to see where the others are. And I see Paul coming up. In a little while, Tim would pull off, and I just roll through. Tim pulls off over there, I just go ahead and roll through. That's what you need to do. You don't need to get excited. Just hold the same effort. Ideally, unless you guys are playing, you hold the same effort, and if you feel like going hard, you stay up longer. Stay up at the front longer and take longer pulls so that you get your workout. But you still keep the group together as opposed to lifting the pace dramatically. So I'm not playing on this downhill. I'm riding it. We're in excess of 27, 28 miles an hour. And there's so many groups out here, in a little bit, probably less than a kilometer, we get passed by the WCC boys. Right there, that's Mo, in second position. And then Al, that's Asana on the left there. That's Al right there, the white bike with the blue jersey. He waved at me. That's the whole group. I didn't lift my pace. I just kept doing what we were doing. We're gonna ride with them later. So at this point, we just we let them go around here. We're just doing our own thing. We want to keep our group together. Because Paul and I are going to turn around here and go back and do Fish Creek for the second time. We're going to do a double loop on Fish Creek.
We're rolling back in
This is later in the morning.
Trying to pick up a few extra kilometers in our life.
This is the sun is out. We're heading south. We're on Ribbon Chapel Road at this point. We've done 2 loops. Paul and I did 2 loops of Fish Creek, and we're on the way back in. It's about 4.5, 5 hours into the ride at this point. We let the group go because we're doing something completely different on Saturday. Old school. But this is back in the day when the TVs were square. And carrying the tire like you see me is very comfortable. You have to know how to wrap it on you. Now it crosses over on your back, and then the front just goes like under your shoulder, and it basically disappears. You don't even feel it. So it really works. I carried the tire like that the entire week. Every time I would test the tires on the bike, I carried the tires like that. Because you never want to do something on a group ride for the first time. I ended up just liking it. I got a lot of drivers slowing down to look to see what I had on my body. You know, probably people that run, or, you know, athletes, you know, because the area we're in, you know, a lot of people are active. They would slow down and just look, you know. So it's different, and I think it's cool. So that's the way I'm going to carry my extra tubular. But when we raced, we didn't carry them like that. We used to put them under the saddle and just use a tote strap to hold it. That's another way you can carry it. But I just think that's really different and cool. We're cruising around 28 to 30 kilometers an hour, about 18 miles an hour. You're supposed to look very stable on your bike, as you can see. I'm sure you've been out there where you see people look like they're like about ready to fall off their bike. I see a lot of riders that look very unstable. If your fit is not right, it's hard to be balanced. It's being balanced on your bike that makes you look stable. So if you feel like you're about to fall over when you're riding your bike, then that means your fit is off, because gravity will play an impact if you don't get that saddle set up correctly. And then also your feet. This is later on Honia Egypt Road. We're going up a 3% climb. It's a decent length. So even though I have the power meter on the bike, I don't really look at power that much. It's on the display just so I know it's working. But for the most part, if you know how to train without those meters, you don't really rely on them, because when you're ready to go hard, you're ready to go hard. Whether the road is flat or up, you put it in the appropriate gear and put the effort into that section of the ride. That's all that matters. Now, having the power meter is good if you're going to use it to say, okay, I'm going to try to keep this stretch at this power for this length of time. And I think that's how a lot of people use that. But you also want to know by feel what kind of effort you're putting out, because those things crap out when you least expect them. You have to be able to ride without them. I like this road, Honia Egypt Road. I don't care how tired I am. When I come on it, I want to ride. There's something about it. It has character. Wind is coming from directly in front and to the right. That's why Paul is sitting on my left. So we have a small echelon going. I'm using my hips to basically place that bike. That's why it looks like it's gliding. That's how you move the bike. Smooth, not sudden. You don't want to scare anybody, especially in the group. You should be gliding where you want to be, so it's gradual. When the road kicks up too much, I downshift a cog or two to keep my rhythm the same. If you can't turn the gear, there's no point staying in it, because you need to work, not labor. This road right here is going up, just gradually. You can see I got on the bars there and just kind of put more force into the pedals because I didn't want to downshift. I'm riding on the edge there because they got this thing scraped up, so I found this one little piece of smooth pavement. I'm using my hips to keep the bike from hitting the reflectors and staying on that smooth piece, like over here. It's hard to do. You see Paul gets on there a little bit and then he'll probably get on it right here. When you're following somebody real closely, you'll see on Sunday we come the opposite way. And what I do is I give the group a little bit of room so I can see the path better, because it's easier to do when you're not closely following another rider or a group of riders. You can plot your line better. This whole stretch here is a gradual grade, so I stay on the tops so I can work and breathe. You should be able to drink while you're riding. You see, I just took a drink, nothing changed. Everything stayed the same. I took a drink, put the bottle back. You should practice that when you ride alone, so that in the group or you're around the cyclist, it won't be foreign. And when you're doing that, your eyes stay forward. You don't need to look at the bottle. You pick it up, pull the little nipple and drink, put it back. Practice those kind of things. It's important. It's those little details. It keeps you smooth. And practice how to hold your line, like I just did on that little piece of asphalt there. Where you look is where the bike goes. And all of that starts with being fitted to your bike correctly, because if you're comfortable, you can hold a straight line better. You don't have a lot of weight on the bars. Every time you see that bike glide, it's because I'm using my hips. I'm staying close to the edge because there's a little smooth patch there. And then I come back over. So you can see how much the HDTV revolution has changed the way we view pictures. You have a wider field of view. They have these lenses that the pros use called anamorphic, that does it in 133 mode, almost like an 8mm film. And that's pretty much what we use in the second set. But I don't do the letterbox because for YouTube it just seems to work without doing letterbox. There are some things I will film going forward for the beauty of it with anamorphic lenses that will come out in letterbox feature. I'm looking at different things to film in that manner, and I think you will really appreciate it. It just gives you a more cinematic experience. I mean, look at the little strip I'm trying to use. There's not much there. And I'm trying to dodge the reflectors. They need to go ahead and pave this road. I don't know why they did those in those corners. It doesn't look like they're going to do anything with them. And this little stretch they paved, which I thought was kind of nice. It used to be very bumpy. And right here, the wind starts to pick up. You will see me stand up and kick up a little bit. Right there, trying to keep the speed up without downshifting. see my position did not change even though I stood up. You should be able to practice those drills. That way when you stand up around other riders, they don't freak out. Because nothing changed. My wheel position stayed the same. We're riding at about 35 to 37 kilometers an hour, 22 to 23 miles an hour. And it looks slower because we're smooth and stable. You shouldn't look like you're fighting the machine. Being all over the bike and thrashing does not make you faster. You just waste energy. So we just wanted to give you a taste of back in the old days how the boys did stuff. End up revisiting like the 60s and the 70s and so forth. I think even the 50s, these boys would carry the tire like you see me doing. And so we're going to take you forward to today's style. On this ride, I left Northampton and rode into the woodlands to pick up Team RR. It was a warm Sunday morning, a little unusual. Once I got there, picked them up, we went down Honia Egypt Road, went through Grand Lake Estates into Keenan. We went through Spring Branch Road to Gary. All of that's on film in different sections. So the clips are very interesting. I hope you all will enjoy it. But this was to kind of add to our retro introduction that we did for Saturday's ride with just highlights. I came back through Magnolia 1488. It ended up being a relatively steady ride, and that's the one that was uploaded to Strava. I hope you guys, by this point, you've seen the retro clips. I hope you enjoy the clips to follow.
Morning, legends and super legends. I'm on Alden Bridge, heading towards Crust Pizza. It's about 7:31 in the morning. These guys usually leave around 7:35 plus, so I didn't want to wait. That's for Yusuf. That's my freewheel.
This is Sunday morning. Paul doesn't ride on Sunday mornings, so he's not available today. So I'm heading out.
So that's what the Campagnolo Super Record sounds like.
So I'm near
Paul's
Crust
and that
Pizza.
freewheel. That's what they sound like. They're gonna sound different for every brand. Every brand has a unique style, and the sound might be even different between the component groups, like Chorus, Athena, whatever you have. Even though it's all campy, they won't necessarily sound exactly the same. I'm here. Let's go ahead and roll in and see what these boys want to do this morning.
I've been riding for almost an hour, 56 minutes. I rode up to the woodlands, and they're standing over there. I went ahead and edited because they weren't really actively ready to go, so I spun around until they were ready to roll. So right here we're rolling. That's Rob on the left there. We're on Research Forest here.
You've been on Spring Branch since they repaved it, haven't you? I went there 3 or 4 weeks ago with Paul. The end of it west was not done yet.
Not too long though.
Yeah, but it's kind of crappy. There's a lot of gravel.
Yeah, the route today is going to take us on a road called Spring Branch. And that's what Mark was asking if I've been on it. And Paul and I checked it out a few weeks ago. There's about a maybe 2 kilometer stretch where it's gravel and a lot of little rocks. So you got to be real careful. So I filmed it, so you'll get to see it. But we're back in modern times here. And we've got the overlay, you know. I do like the overlay, but it really adds a lot of processing hours to the film, the post-production time. We're on Egypt Road heading towards 1488. That's Rob on the left there. He works at one of the local bike shops. He's a mechanic. He used to race a long time ago. He has a bunch of steel bikes. This one is Schneider. He has a bunch of those made by a local builder called Hans Schneider. He's been building bikes for more than 3 decades. He rides tubulars as well. He's got a tubular bag on the back holding his tubular. I have my tubular tires on this bike, but I'm not carrying my Randonneur style today. I just used the one that's in my bidon. I felt that would be enough for today. But I will start using that fairly frequently, especially when I ride with Paul, because we do a lot more hours. Sundays I drop my hours quite a bit.
Yeah, I think I've been with you. I ride with you.
Yeah, Abby's chatting with those guys back there. They're not really riding with us. They just kind of took off with us, but we end up just riding away. When we hit Honia, Egypt, they're not holding our pace. It ended up being a warm Sunday morning. You see the temperature, 20 Celsius. That's 70 degrees, just about, Fahrenheit.
You organized it. I would no way.
And it had been in the 50s, like, 10, 11 C's. So.
We moved that 10% off the board.
There's Mike and Randy there. Randy has I think it's a P3 or something, one of the Velo time trial bikes. That's Abby on the right there. Paul and I have been working on different views with this camera, and you can see what kind of visibility we're getting here. It looks really good. Got to try it out, and I really like this rear view. So when we're pulling at the front, we can just hold this position and get to see what's happening. We're always trying to improve our film or cinematography. That's Bart right there. Those are the guys that just rolled out with us. They got the same kit on. I didn't get to meet them. When I got there, I was ready to ride. I don't like to stop. You can see I've got an hour 16 on the duration. So my goal is in 3 hours or so I want to be home. It's a 4-way stop sign they went through. I still check even though we're going through as a train. We're heading to the open road. $29.78 coming up. As we turn, there's a car coming, so of course you let everybody know because people take the corners tight. So people say car up. There's a car coming. These guys go across, they make it. But for us, it's kind of close. But he ends up seeing that we're trying to get across.
He's gonna let us go.
So he lets us go. He slows down, lets us go. So we roll over. We're going to be turning left at the light on Hornier, Egypt Community Road. So there's cars coming, so we wait for this light. You can turn with caution. That's why the yellow arrow is blinking now. It goes green, mean we got the right of way, so then we go. So there's a gap between us and the front part of the group. Whenever that happens, don't try to feel like you got to rush across with the group if it's not safe and you're at the back, because conditions change like you saw there. So either they can wait or you just ride up to them at your own leisure. So I figure I would just roll up to them. Nobody's really on my wheel close. They're back there. I'm just riding. Figure I'd stay right around 19 miles an hour or so. Pick up the pace a bit here, doing about 22, 23. Should be closer to the group now. It's a narrow road, so a lot of the drivers this morning are very patient. They're waiting till it's safe to pass. You can see the car behind me, a couple of cars back there. In a little bit, you will hear me call out the cars are coming, and there's another one. And the reason I do that is I noticed that Randy up there in the chartreuse that you see sneaking out to the right, he's trying to go to the front, and he keeps trying to come over to the left to pass and go up front on his TT bike. And so because I know his intent, I let them know here. You will hear me tell him. I think I said one more.
One more.
And the only reason I'm doing that is really for Randy's benefit, because you see him right there sneaking out? That's him. That's why I did that, because you don't really have to do that. Everybody knows the cars are coming and they're coming around. One car back would have been enough, but I did that so he wouldn't get out there, because he can't see back there because this road is curvy. And that was the reasoning behind what you heard me communicate. Because some riders get a little careless when they're in a group. You should not. Ride safely, even in the group. Do the same stuff you do when you're solo. The group does not increase your safety, per se. I mean, you're more visible, there's more of you, but still, that's no reason for you to take chances, because there's more of you. This road is slightly downhill here, and then it's going to drop off towards the lake. There's a lake called Lake Creek. So I'm coasting here. This is where the descent begins. You can see I'm coasting with 54 kilometers an hour. That's more than 32 miles an hour. And then right here levels off, I start to pedal. So the watts are going to jump all over the place. This is another reason I don't look at them all the time. You can see if you look at that with the arrow, it's all over the place. It'll go up when you're accelerating and then settle down when you get to a steady effort. If you're going to use them, glance at them periodically. Abby's trying to find a smooth piece of pavement. I'm riding on the right. That's why I let the gap to the group so I could see my line. Because this Honia Egypt on the corners, they have graded the road. I don't know why they did that and just left them like that. So I ride back up to the group. That's why being on the back is not necessarily easy. Because you get that whiplash effect. When something happens at the front, you have to respond to it much later. I let them know the car's coming around because Mark and Randy are sitting on the left, and that's where Randy's been for a while. He's sitting in the wind again because he wants to be on his TT bike. I don't believe he saved that much energy because the group's trying to pick it up, and once the road goes up, those TT bikes are heavier than road bikes. So when the road starts to go up, you're working. Abby goes around him. I think I'm on his right. I think I go past him on the right. Yeah, I get behind Mark here. So I ride up closer to Mark. We're going to be turning in about 1 kilometer. We're going to go left through a subdivision, the Grand Lake Estates.
He can't help himself.
Mark saying that Randy can't help himself. You know, this is stuff I talk about, pacing yourself. He does all that stuff, then later in the ride, when somebody goes hard, you may not be able to respond. You know, on this ride, I ended up just leaving them on Jackson Road. I just headed home. I had to get back, and I'm not sure that they fell off the pace. We hooked up with a rider you will see called Hernan from Costa Rica. He was riding out here and we came across him and he hung with us, and so he attacked, and we have that on film on 1486 South, and just 4 of us went off the front, and by the time we got to Jackson Road, we looked back, we couldn't even see the rest of the group. So I just kept going. I needed to get back. I don't like to be out too late on Sundays. Get home and spend time with the family for a change. I'm a little to the right of Mark because the pavement is nice and smooth there. This road goes up. It's like 2% right now. It just keeps going up. It's up and down. That's why I like this road. And you can see we're just rolling past Randy. It is the TT bike. He's spinning a small gear. It's time to work those legs. You better shift up. Those little gears will only take you so far. So every time the road goes up, these guys attack it. And that's really, you know, a good way to do it. If you're going to come out here and ride these hills, ride them. If you're feeling good, attack them. I just ride the scraped pavement here because there's not much of an edge and it's all scraped all the way, so it didn't matter. We're getting close to Grand Lake Estates. We're going to be turning left.
Come back.
I say car back once. If people don't move over, that's their prerogative. I mean, these guys are moving, or they ended up their motorcycle. I just heard the motor, and so I said car back. If you're gonna sit to the left, like Abby is, that's your responsibility to kind of keep your eye out. You have a right to be there, but for me, I don't like to be close to the yellow line when there's a lot of cars coming around. I like to give them a little bit more room. You know, it just makes more sense. So we're turning here. There's a guy at the gate. He can't get the thing working. He's struggling. So we go ahead and we go through the exit gate. He's at the entrance. And as soon as we go through, he gets it working. You'll hear him. He said, "There it goes." So I started laughing. I said, "You got it working." And so he's coming in on the right.
Everybody's here. Let's go.
Mark was making sure that everybody's here. I told him everybody's here. We haven't really started riding yet.
Yeah. Let's get to the right.
We're about ready to start riding in here. There's a lot of rollers in here. That's Tim.
Car back.
I told them to watch out for the guy that they just cut the entrance on. That he's coming. There he is. Mike took off his helmet. He got stung by a bee. I didn't know at this point, so I just keep riding because I couldn't figure out why they were slowing down again. You know, I like to just keep moving. And then Mark calls out to Bob. Bob's up there, blinking light on the right. He goes up. He's ready to go too. So I just keep riding because at this point I don't know why they're slowing down. So I ride up here and then I check. I think you'll see me look back, see what they're doing. I'm kind of listening to see where they are. Now after a while, they show up and there's a car back, so I accelerate, move over to the right, and they'll come by.
Got strong, Eldred.
Yeah, I saw him take off his helmet. Was it a bee?
It was a little bee.
Okay. Well,
So
hopefully
Mark
you're not
said,
allergic.
Mike got stung.
That's good.
It's the same area I got hit by some bug about a month ago. It happens. So I let them come by to see what they want to do, what pace they want to hold, you know, just because usually here, every time the road goes up, they get excited. So I'm just watching. So you can see here, the pace is picking up. I go ahead and ride up. I was doing about 25 miles an hour. The road will start to go up. You can see it. Somebody at the front is forcing the pace. So I figure, okay, the boys are ready to ride now. So I ride up to the front. Look at my watts. It's going to be like 400 to 600 watts. This is like a 2.5%, 3% climb. And I ride up at almost 25 miles an hour. Get up there, then I realize, okay, whoever was at the front has turned off the power. You can hear everybody freewheeling. I'm freewheeling. So I'm soft pedaling. See, my cadence is fluctuating. Power has dropped, of course. So Tim goes on the left. I stay in the middle here to keep my eye on things. I move a little more to the left. The road's going up again. They attack every climb, but then they want to sit up. See, I don't like to sit up. I like to keep the power going. So we're going. You can see my watts exceed 400 watts. Anything above 300, I know it's on. So you have to build your tolerance to be able to sustain the effort, not just go for 10 seconds. I mean, you need to be able to hold those things longer. That's what really enhances your training. So Mark likes to attack the climbs and then he'll sit up and he'll see if everybody's together and all of that. I just keep riding here when they do that. They're sitting up right here. You see him looking behind to see who's there or who's off the pace. There's a bunch of guys off the pace. I go ahead and ride through here. I go a little to the left and I just keep the pace. I'm not going hard. But still, they're kind of freewheeling until the gap starts to build. We're going to be turning right. I go ahead and signal, and they're a bit off my wheel. So I just keep the effort reasonable enough for them to come back. I shift up, keep my cadence in the same range. The wind picked up, you can hear it as I turn. So I edited here a bit because I was off the front for a bit and then they caught back up. So I edited to where they're catching up. I moved to the left so the line can come through. I slipped back in. You can hear the wind noise went down a little bit. This road is going up slightly. I went ahead and filmed just to show you how close I was following Rob. I move a little to the left here just to give you the effect. But I'm about maybe 3 to 4 inches off his wheel, mostly. No more than 6 inches. When you're going really hard, the faster you go, you want to be closer. It saves energy. I just did that to just show you. You got to build up to it, and you need to make sure you're following somebody who's smooth. As long as you don't overlap, for the most part, you're pretty good. It doesn't mean they can't slow down suddenly because something happens and then you end up overlapping anyway, but you always have to be aware of what we call protecting your front wheel. You can see the watts on my Garmin on the far right, top right. Cadence is on the left, watts on the right. That's what you see right there. So from time to time, I may glance at it, but most of the time when I'm riding, I'm just riding. Because that stuff is happening after the fact. They're really good when you're holding a steady speed. So you get off the front and you want to stay off the front, then you can hold a certain wattage or a certain heart rate. Although the watts are more reliable than the heart rate. It does not have to deal with atmospheric conditions and the different weather and temperature and all that kind of stuff. So Bob's sitting at the front. Now it's Mike, and then this is Rob. I'm sitting on Rob's wheel. riding right in my endurance pace, my endurance zone. And really, even though I'm filming, I am watching everything that's happening. At this point here, I'll go ahead and film Spring Branch Road, new pavement. We're headed north, just to show you a new stretch of road that these guys have fixed for us. I mean, we used to ride through here. It was real crappy, lots of cracks and holes and all that. It's gotten better, but at the end of it, about 2 kilometers, all gravel. They're not done yet. This is Hernan. We picked him up on the way in the Keenan area. He's from Costa Rica, and so he decided to hang with us. And you can see as the road goes up, the boys get excited. We're doing 40 kilometers an hour, and it goes up to about 3%, I think. Randy and his bike, his TT bike. Every time the road gets up, he gets hammered, but it's like, you know, he's just got to keep pushing. They're not designed for that quick acceleration. That's why even the pros will switch their bike sometimes when they have a hilly time trial. Look at that road. It's beautiful. Can't wait till they're done completely because I don't care for the gravel section. Got a bit of Dutch angle going here. I wasn't paying attention that much to the camera. I just let it do its thing. The road's going up again, just a bit. It says 3%, and it's a good little distance. This is a good area to get a good workout. It's about 2.5 hours by bike from where we live. So that's the fun thing about the group. You can kind of hang with the group. When they start to go hard, you go hard. When they sit up, you sit up if that's what you want to do. But the idea is that when you're riding with the group, save your energy so you can finish with the group. Don't do anything that will cause you to not be able to stay with the group. That's the way to do a group ride. I think this is the area where the gravel section starts. Because when that car turned out in front of us, the bottom of the car was dirty. You could tell he's been driving on that gravel section. It gets very dusty and they got little rocks on there and it's hard packed dirt with small potholes. Not as bad as cobbles, but it's pretty bumpy. So I basically let them know it was a bad idea to come through here. So this sucks. There's Mark slowing us down. The gravel begins. You see it in the distance. There's no point. I mean, you slow. Just find a line. I just basically found a line. I put it in a slightly heavier gear. Kept my cadence low. That gives you more stability. You don't need to slow way down. I kept my pace the same. I did not change it like they were doing. You would see them coming past me and so forth. I rode the same kind of pace just so I wouldn't tear up my wheels. Because besides the fact that there are rocks, if you look closely, there are holes in the pavement. You can see it's shaking.
This sucks. I hate gravel on this bike.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a gravel bike. It's not designed for that. You need bigger tires to be able to enjoy this surface. Yeah, they'll finish the road soon. So all I'm doing is
for the cleanest and smoothest path.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just looking for the smoothest area, minimal rocks, minimal holes. It's all hard surface, so it's fine. It's almost like riding on bad pavement.
And I'm keeping the weight off the tires.
Yeah, I'm keeping my weight on the pedals as much as possible. So, you know, I keep my cadence reasonable, and I stand when I can. Although you see 0 RPM, I'm standing. I'm letting the bike just roll.
This was not a very good idea. This sucks.
Can't be more than a couple miles.
Watch those rocks.
So all I'm doing is making sure I don't roll over any sharp rocks, because that's...
I mean, I know how long it is. I've come the other way.
You know, Mike's being funny. He says it's a lot different this way.
We're going to pavement, right? I hope.
It ends and then we get on pavement. Yeah, this is just the part they haven't finished. A couple of miles maybe. Yeah, they need to hurry. It's been taking them forever.
Yeah, they've been working on this road for probably 2 years. I mean, it's time to wrap it up. I'm sure that the people that live here are tired of all the dust. And when you live on a street like this, all the dust from the road comes to your house. So you got to power wash your home.
It comes out the old 105. Old 105 is behind the high school.
I've been on here before. It used to be really bad.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice when they finish. Yeah, it used to be.
Yeah, it used to be really full of holes and cracks and all of that. So it'll be nice when they get through. This part of it is not too bad. You can see it's kind of smooth, even though it's and the rocks are to the side. So I'm riding the smoothest area.
That's.
So you can see the guys past us, then we catching back up because they have to slow down. On the gravel, you got to be careful because there are areas where they're softer, there's more dirt, there's more sand. You don't want your wheel getting caught. So I'm making sure that everything I ride on is hard. And it's all hard packed. They did a good job on the surface. They do this, they put the rocks down, they bring heavy equipment so that they can build the base that's going to be under the asphalt so it doesn't wash away easily in the rains that come in the winter. That's why those rocks are there. So I'm staying in the middle as much as possible to avoid the rocks that has moved to the side as the cars come by. I mean, we're moving at a good clip, you know, 21, 22 miles an hour. Because it's not soft. The soft roads, just choppy and, you know. I'm more focused on avoiding any kind of sharp rocks that might endanger my tire. The road starts to go up here, 3%. I move to the left, but Bart's slowing down. I don't want to slow down. That's why we like this road. It's up and down, up and down. It's got some nice stretches where you're working really hard. This is one of them. It shook a lot more than you see on film. It's just the technology keeping this thing steady, but it's a lot bumpier. And this is where it ends. We'll go ahead and turn west. So at this point we hit 1486 from where we turned out of Tri-Lakes. Tri-Lakes hits 1486. This is Hernan following Mike. We're headed south on 1486 towards Jackson Road. And I'm in third position. I believe Abby is in fourth position. For some reason, the four of us end up riding away from the rest of the group because Hernan will attack in a little while. See, everybody's together here. That's Rob on my wheel. Abby's back there, but it looks like Abby ends up riding around Rob when Hernan attacks. The sun's bothering me here. I'm a bit squinting. My glasses, they get darker in the sun. And we had just come out of that gravelly area in the trees, and it was just in my eyes. We turned directly into the sun. picked up a lot of dust on that road, especially when that car went by. You know, you get all dusty and so forth, but those are the things that we take care of. As soon as I get home, I usually just clean up, you know, make sure everything's ready for the next ride. But this is a pretty decent pace because this area here is very windy and it's exposed. It's kind of the plains. And then in about 2 kilometers, the road starts to go up and Hernan forces the pace and the group disintegrates. So right here, the shoulder gets wider. We're going across the bridge over here. After the bridge, I think that's where Hernan starts forcing the pace, and we end up just ratcheting everything up to where the group separates. Right there. He moves over to the right and accelerates. So Mike picked up the pace. If you look at my cadence, I stay in the same gear and just wind it up. And once I get there, then I shift up. You can see Watts got to about 4 something because this road's going up 3%. So we're going hard here. This is like sweet spot. I've hit sweet spot. Edging into zone 4. So I said, okay, this is a nice pace. I settle in to do the work. I figure we hold a pace like this, we get the Jackson Road, I think we'll be back home early. So I'm liking this. It looks like Hernan is on a pair of aero bars. I guess he has clip-ons. I never noticed it. I run the credits here. I want to thank our sponsors, Divine Mercy AG Church and Kish Fabrication, our supporters, Paul Ilonga, Joe Nanga, Reed Seif, and all our patrons and channel members. Thanks for supporting Veloharmony. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to do this. He didn't let up on the effort here, but the terrain changed, and once it changes, you know, you can see my heart rate's crept up to like 167. It's gone up about probably 10 or 12 beats. While we're riding, I'm just riding. See, right now I'm coasting. We're going downhill. And when you're fit, your heart rate drops quickly. You can see it's dropped like 8 beats, just a few pedal strokes. So when you're conditioned, your body performs like it has a rev counter. You know, you go up quickly, come down quickly. You have excellent recovery when your fitness is up. That's the whole point of training. You can see my watts like 120. The road goes up here, you see his pump will drop. I'm not sure where he had his pump. I think it's standing here, it fell right there. He dropped his pump.
something?
Hernan dropped his pump on the road. So he pulled in the dirt over there to turn around.
And you drop the pallet on too.
Yeah, so we're going to be turning up here.
was that
Jackson
the
Road right there.
CO2?
I thought it was a CO2 cartridge, but it was a pump. So the thing is that when we turn around, there is no sign of the group. We're waiting for her now to get his pump. I think at this point that the group is within sight, that they're there. You know, they just decided to let us.
What did
have
he
our
drop?
fun.
Oh.
I didn't know what he had dropped. So I ride past
he
these
went too hard
guys.
for them.
He's asking me where the group is. I said, I guess he went too hard for them, so they just decided to let us go. But then I turn around expecting to see them in the distance. Because really, we didn't go that hard for that
Come
long.
on, let's do this.
There's a car stalling. I was like, let's go. So I turn around here, and you can't even see the group. So at this point, I decided to just head home. Because they go back. They're riding back to go to
Something
them.
happened because they're too far back.
Yeah. So that's what we did on this weekend. I hope you all got a chance to get out. Keep getting your K's in and keep those doctors fired.